These are my choices for the 10 worst books in the Babysitter's Club mystery series. This is going to be longer than my video for the 10 best mystery books, because I've got a lot of stuff to complain about. I gave 5 different books a 4 out of 10, so there was a 5-way tie for the first spot on this list. I'm giving an honorable mention to books 3, 16, 19, and 31. They were bad, but not bad enough to make the worst 10 list. Number 10, Marianne and the Library Mystery. It made this list because I still remember hating the mystery solution. It's impossible to solve this mystery because the culprit is a random kid who was mentioned once 50 pages ago. Their motive is pretty flimsy. They set books on fire and caused a panic because they didn't want to read. That's a pretty extreme overreaction. If they didn't want to read, they could have just not read anything without committing arson. The culprit did a good job of framing 2 different suspects, Nikki Pike and a group of angry protesters. Guess what? That's just a coincidence. The culprit framed other people by accident. So all the investigation was a waste of time. One more thing to note, the culprit kid in this book reappears in later Babysitter's Club books. Instead of having their original personality, they had their nasty culprit personality from this book, and it generally led to unpleasant storylines. Number 9, Marianne and the Zoo Mystery. This book was all over the place. There are several storylines that got introduced and dropped. Like Marilyn Arnold sneaks around, Marianne adds her to the suspect list, and Marilyn never gets mentioned again. Marianne also forgets about a group of angry protesters. Are they the exact same protesters from the previous book? I don't know. 2 people have a list of animals and prices. The babysitters assume they're stealing animals and selling them on the black market. But no animals ever get stolen in this book, so that makes no sense. Why are they accusing people of stealing unstolen animals? These suspects are cleared when nobody's looking, so they're half-forgotten suspects. The gorillas know sign language. That's the cover. Marianne is asking the gorillas who the culprit is. She's bummed out when they don't know the answer. But why would the gorillas know that information in the first place? The culprit is somebody who's letting animals out of cages, and believe it or not, the master key to the animal cages looks exactly like a zoo key. The culprit is caught red-handed because they break into the gorilla cage in broad daylight in full view of a large crowd. And the entire time, the culprit doesn't realize those aren't gorillas, they're people in gorilla costumes. So there's a lot of dumb stuff in this book, in addition to the book just being all over the place and dropping storylines. Number 8, Fright Night. This made my list of the 10 worst super specials. It's bad enough to double on the list of 10 worst mysteries. Over a third of the book is irrelevant, and it doesn't need to be in the story. That, and the fact that it's hard to distinguish between the different narrators, makes me wonder if it was originally a normal book, which got expanded into a super mystery, it would be better as a normal book with less filler. Mallory gets suspicious of a short woman who wears high heels. Why would a short woman wear shoes that make her taller? That's suspicious. No, Mallory, that's not suspicious. It's perfectly reasonable. Mallory circles back to this reasoning at the end, when she claims if somebody's wearing sneakers, you can't hear them walking. Therefore, the culprit is the person with sneakers. Hey, I'm wearing sneakers right now. Let me try this out. Oh, hey, what do you know? Shoes can make noise. Mallory's mystery solution is wrong. The culprit robs a museum, and they accidentally drop the combination to their hotel room safe at the crime scene. That's a pretty big blunder. How did the police not catch the culprit right away? Stacey sees the paper for a few seconds and instantly memorizes it for a full week because she's good with numbers. And that's not how being good at math works. If someone's good at math, that doesn't mean they can memorize combinations easily. Stacey also talks about economics in this book because she's a fan of math, and that's not at all her personality. It's weird. Number 7, Stacey and the Mystery at the Empty House. I gave this one a low score, but I really don't remember what happens in this book. I reread my review, and I can see why I forgot the book. Nothing happens! Stacey's house sitting for the Johansons. A bunch of little things happen. Papers appear in the trash, the dog's leash isn't where Stacey put it, and there's a whole chapter where Stacey finds a glass in the sink. That's a whole chapter! This is a very slow-paced book. Readers are forced to sit through 9 of the small incidents before the babysitters think, this could be a mystery. There are a few times when Stacey hears scary noises in the house. She thinks it's an intruder, but it's just the dog. The suspects are pretty bad. They're an escaped convict and a woman who's leaving her husband. They both don't have a place to stay. So maybe they broke into Johansson's house. That's not logical. Stacey could easily solve the mystery by calling the house at nighttime or getting her mother involved. She doesn't. Stacey scares herself over a potential intruder for 2 weeks. The ending reveals somebody did break into the house. It's a random person who was never mentioned before. He thinks it's totally okay to sleep in somebody else's house when they're not around. And the book acts like, oh yeah, that's totally normal. People do that all the time. No, they don't. I never liked the books where the culprit is not one of the suspects. That also happens in number 6, Beware Dawn. Most of this book is not mystery. Most of it is the subplot. The kids are having a Sitter of the Month competition. They use this to blackmail the babysitters. So we get scenes like, you should give me cookies or I won't vote for you as Babysitter of the Month. I didn't enjoy seeing the normally nice kids manipulate the babysitters, who are normally smarter than this, and the entire thing is pointless because the vote ends in a 7-way tie. That's impossible. Mallory has 7 siblings. There are 4 chapters in a row which are the exact same. One of the girls gets a threatening note while she's babysitting. She decides not to tell anyone. It's very repetitive and uninteresting, and really, a babysitting subplot is not a break from a babysitting main story. There are no suspects, and the girls do not investigate. Yeah, that's always a sign of a bad mystery. They kind of investigate at the very end after Jamie Newton tells them who the culprit is. That allows them to catch the culprit red-handed. The culprit's a random kid who was mentioned in Chapter 1 and never showed up again. Number 5, Claudia and the Mystery at the Museum. This book starts off on the wrong foot, as Claudia is a jerk to her sister and to some kids. She goes to an art museum where the culprit smashes a display case and steals coins. Claudia is standing in the doorway when this happens. She turns around and sees the culprit outside. That's impossible. The culprit could not have gone from standing next to the exhibit to being on the other side of the wall. It just shows how little the author and publishers cared about the mystery in this book. There are a few people outside, they should all be suspects, but the babysitters ignore them. Instead, they search the museum for hiding places where the coins could be. This takes 1 chapter, and that is all the investigation they do. So, it's a mystery book where they don't really try to solve the mystery. They try once, and then give up. Claudia gets a new suspect, mostly by accident. She robs the museum curator because she doesn't like him. That's a bad reason for robbing someone. There's a suspiciously large number of thefts on his resume. Claudia suspects he's a master thief, but turns out he's just bad at his job. Claudia solves the mystery when she calls a famous artist. He loves getting phone calls from random teenagers playing detective. He says his sculpture has a small secret compartment. The stolen coins are hidden inside. Number 4, Marianne and the Silent Witness. This is the other bad mystery that I didn't remember. I must have blocked it out because it's a dumb book with illogical plot points. The story is that an evil real estate developer wants to destroy a park. He made up a fake identity to hide the fact that he's from Stony Brook. I don't know why he did that. He's too stupid to remember his fake identity, so every time somebody asks him where he's from, he gives a different answer. Thanks to his unnecessary slip-ups, the babysitters discover his true identity and his secret twin brother. because of course he has a secret twin. In the last chapter, he's exposed as a villain, and his secret plans to destroy the town are foiled when he leaves incriminating blueprints in the park. I'm not joking. He's all, where should I put my top secret evil plans? How about this park bench? I'll just leave them here. That's good, yeah? So all of that is contrived and dumb, but that's only the background part of the mystery. The real mystery is that a teenage culprit is vandalizing houses and threatening a young child. Marianne sees the culprit's a teenager, but she wastes all of her time focusing on suspects who aren't teenagers. Marianne is dumb. The culprit is a random person who was never mentioned before. The secret twin blackmailed him into destroying houses in order to save the neighborhood. I don't know why he thinks destroying people's houses will convince them to stay in the neighborhood. That seems like it would have the opposite effect. Number 3, Abby and the Mystery Baby. This book is about 15% recap, which is never a good sign. A baby appears on Abby's doorstep. The mystery is figuring out who the baby's parents are. This should not be a mystery, because there is a letter with the baby which tells the whole story. Abby, Anna, Christy, Chrissy's grandmother, and Police Sergeant Johnson all failed to notice the letter. I'm sorry, but I can't believe that. There is no way so many people missed the mystery solution. Abby's mom finds the letter. She lies to everyone and pretends she doesn't know anything. The baby belongs to Mom's sister, which is another one of Mom's lies. Mom has lied to her family for years about the fact that she has a sister. So the entire mystery only happens because Mom lies to everyone about everything for no real reason. It's bad. The book also wastes too much time investigating dumb, fake-out suspects, like a nervous nanny and a woman who doesn't have a baby. Why doesn't she have a baby? Maybe it's because she abandoned one. Well, no, there are plenty of people that don't have kids. Why did Mallory think that person was suspicious? Number 2, Dawn Schafer, Undercover Babysitter. Wealthy Arthur Livingston died last year. He gave each of his daughters a clue to a puzzle. Whoever solves it first inherits everything. The babysitters search the house a lot, but they don't know what they're looking for, so it's all a waste of time. They also waste time suspecting the lawyer and the butler are guilty. Guilty of what? There's no crime being committed here. The butler ends up being guilty of being a long-lost brother that nobody recognized. Yeah, they didn't recognize their own brother. They thought he was dead. Instead of telling everyone the truth, he pretended to be their butler. I don't know what this guy was thinking. Other dumb moments in this book include the fairly obvious mystery solution appearing to Dawn in a dream, and Abby not realizing more than one person in the family has A for the initial. Abby has A as an initial. How did she not know that? Ugh. Number 1, Dawn and the Halloween Mystery. I originally had this as number 3, but I could not stop complaining about it, so it got bumped up to number 1. Dawn is shopping when there's a robbery. The robber has a clown mask. If you've ever worn clothing before, you probably know that clothes always have the tag on the inside, not the outside. But this mask has a tag on the outside, so Dawn knows what company made the mask. She goes to the town's costume store and asks the cashier who bought a clown mask recently. The cashier names 3 different people. Dawn ignores the fact that the culprit could have gotten the mask from a different town, or from a different cashier, or from a different year. Also, maybe the cashier remembered wrong. I'm glad Dawn has a list of suspects, but it is dumb for her to declare the culprit has to be one of these 3 people. I didn't like this mystery because Dawn was stupid the whole time. She clears all the suspects for bad reasons. First, she decides the woman is innocent because women don't commit crimes. It makes no sense for Dawn to say this. Dawn is a soapbox feminist, and there are female culprits in other books. Second, Dawn decides the florist is innocent because he still has his clown mask. How does that prove he's innocent? Third, there are 2 high schoolers. Dawn rules out one because he's nice. Yeah, he was nice to you once. That doesn't prove he's innocent. And as for the second high schooler, he never gets mentioned again. That's right, Dawn identifies this guy as a potential suspect. Then she forgets they exist. She is such a bad detective. The culprit is the woman. She gives herself away by wearing the clown mask on Halloween. But wait! With the florist, Dawn thought having the mask makes you innocent. Why does having the mask make this person guilty? It's totally inconsistent, and I don't like it. That's it for this video. Those are my picks for the 10 worst Babysitters Club mysteries. I hope you had enough of dumb plot twists, detectives making terrible decisions, the babysitters not investigating mysteries, and culprits who are random characters that weren't mentioned before.